Claire.
I'm going to open it and then people can start joining it. So it is now live.
Great.
So people can see us now.
You must be bored.
No.
No, not at all. Welcome. I see some of you joining now. So I'm going to give us a little bit of time to have some people join and then we will get this party started.
Great.
Well, Kent, are you a duck hunter?
Well, I'm a part-time duck hunter, but I'm a serious deer hunter and turkey hunter.
Ah, so that.
I'm serious about the outdoors.
Oh, it's beautiful right now, isn't it? Who would have thought November would be this warm?
Yeah, this is like springtime. You ought to see the foliage on the trees. It's like somebody poured it out of a paint bucket.
I think this is the most beautiful fall
It really,
we've had in a
is.
long time. Yep.
I
can't see Kent.
Just responded. I don't know why somebody said they can't see you, Kent, but I guess maybe it's because of speaker view. Maybe I wonder. Are you there, Kent?
Are you talking to me? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Lee said that she can't see you either. So.
Well, it's her lucky day.
Well, Lee, type on there if you can hear him at least on the chat. We can hear him but not see him. So, all right. Well, we get to see you at least Maureen and I get to see your face. So,
Yeah. Sure.
All right.
Sorry. You know, that's the joys of technology. Again, it works unless it doesn't. And then what do you do? So,
We should have all bought stock in Zoom.
I'm telling you what, that is for sure. Who'd have thought we'd be doing Zoom as much as we are? So, it is crazy. It says the host will need to bring up his video screen, but I can see him, Lisa. So, do you have any suggestions?
Maureen?
This says I can make him a host. I wonder what would happen if I did that.
Well, don't require me to touch anything on my end or
Oh, now they see you. So maybe it was speaker view. Okay, now
right.
So they can see you now. Good. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you to our participants for solving the problems. so operator error. I keep trying to figure out new things on Zoom, so I'm just going to have to start attending more of their training sessions that they have. So anyway, I guess I'm going to go ahead because we do have Maureen Yarborough with us today, and I want to give her a second to share what this is all about while we have her with us today. But I am so excited to hear today's presentation with Kent Ritchey. I am Pearson Crutcher, the Executive Director of the Society of Entrepreneurs. And the first thing I do, whether we're on a Zoom or in person, is, of course, thank my sponsors. So thank you to Paragon Bank, eBiz Solutions, and behind the scenes that make our meetings once a month possible. So we really appreciate it. One of the things that I've always loved about our in-person meetings is that we get to go around the room and say our name and our company name. Well, that's all. Of course, everybody knows that I like to say no commercials, but I think I'm going to do something a little bit differently now on these Zoom calls, and I am going to give somebody time for a little commercial, and then they will provide a door prize for one of our lucky viewers. So, Maureen, I'm going to turn it over to you. You only get 2 minutes. So remember, keep it short, but tell us about you and Sign Matters.
My name's Maureen Yarborough, and I am the owner of Sign Matters. We've been in business for 15 years, and we design, manufacture, and install signs. And some of the projects that we have worked on this past year, I thought that would be the best way to give people a visual of what we do. We are just finishing up the new building for power and telephone out in Collier in Piperton. We did the Citizen Apartments in Midtown, Madison and McLean in Midtown. We did Campbell Clinic's new building in Germantown. We just finished a rebrand for a distribution company, Titan. And we have done all of the design work for the signage for the new Lake District out in Lakeland, which has been really exciting. And you know, we have had to take a step back this year, and we are really looking forward to next year. We've been working on strategy and what we're going to do to come roaring back into 2021. And it looks good for us. We're really excited. So that's Sign Matters. And my door prize today is my daughter cheers for Collierville High School. And last year we started doing a Christmas ornament collection for a fundraiser that we could make, that they could sell as a fundraiser. And we did a set of 3 ornaments. So this year we have done another set of 3 ornaments. And that is going to be the door prize that whoever is lucky enough to be drawn will win today.
Oh, thank you. That's really cool. What are they, Collierville themed ornaments?
One of them, well, we thought we would theme them this year. We try to have a wide theme. So this year we have a wreath with a toilet paper as the bow on the wreath that says 2020. It's really cute. And then we have a lasered ornament that is a laptop computer that you'll be able to see the Christmas lights through on your Christmas tree. That one does have the Collierville logo on it, since, you know, so many people are virtual this year. And then the last one is we did an ornament which, you know, has some things that just says 2020, and it has just a lot of things that we have done this year as far as YouTube and social distancing and just all the things that we aren't used to, that has a mask that says 2020, and on the back it says a year like no other. So
I love that.
So you know, we tried to appeal to everyone. So, and these are, you can't get them anywhere else.
Very good. Well, that's really cool. I was thinking Collierville theme because that would obviously bring Kent Ritchey, our speaker today, in, since one of the main dealerships is right there in Collierville on Poplar, the Landers Ford. Kent, thank you so much for being with us today. Kent is the CEO, the founder of Landers Auto Center. He's got, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many dealerships, because every time I pay attention, it's changing because he's buying and acquiring new dealerships. So Kent, thank you so much. Why don't you just start this by giving just a quick overview of Landers, how many dealerships, how many employees, just a quick overview of your business.
Thanks, Pearson. Of course, every automobile dealer loves to talk about themselves and their dealership. And Maureen, congratulations on that power and tell. They're customers of ours. I go by that building twice a day. It's absolutely a statement, and it is right on the Fayette County line in Piperton. But as you said, Pearson, Landers Auto Group is my umbrella company. We employ approximately 450 people in 3 states, and we have 10 dealerships in Collierville and Memphis, South Haven, Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, and Little Rock, Arkansas. Purposely, we set out about 14, 15 years ago to spread our risk. So we have European manufacturers, we have Asian manufacturers, and of course we have domestic manufacturers. They're not always smart at the same time. So, and their products are not always hot at the same time, or fresh. So we've got a little bit of everything. And with the way the tariffs have been bouncing around the last few years, you know, it's been a good thing.
Very
so
good.
We started out about 15 years ago. Spent many years with working for Roger Penske and in the public sector, and we've expanded rapidly, and takes us about 18 months to assimilate a dealership, and we're about a year into our last acquisition, so we won't do anything else this year, and then we'll see what the market brings next year.
Very interesting. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you from Memphis? What kind of business were you in growing up? I mean, did you always know you wanted to start a business? Tell us a little bit about growing up.
Well, I'm from Blytheville, Arkansas. It's a small delta town along the river, about 60 miles north of here. I've lived within 60 miles of Memphis all my life, either in the Mississippi Delta or the Arkansas Delta. And if you live within 100 miles of Memphis, and regardless of what state it is, Memphis is your capital. So I've always grown up with Memphis TV and the Memphis newspapers and Memphis radio stations. And we always came to Memphis for anything that we were going to do internet-wise. My dad was an early automobile dealer, so I grew up around automobiles. I knew the business. I was familiar with the business, and I felt comfortable in it. I went out and did a couple other things. Thought I didn't want to be in the car business. I found out I was slowly starving to death, so I got back in the car business many years ago. This is my 50th year in the automobile business, making my living selling automobiles. This is my 50th year of marriage to my wife, Janice, who is also an equity partner in my dealership. She reminds me of that every month when the financial statements come out. So it's been a good partnership. I still have family in Blytheville, and most of my family lives within a couple hundred miles of here. And many grandchildren. My first great grandchild is here now, so I've reached an age where it's a lot rather spend time around grandkids than around the business.
Now, I have a question. As far as this group, for me, has been really great as far as finding mentors and advisors that just I've been able to call on just with whatever I needed. Who has been a mentor for you, and why has that relationship, or how has that relationship, developed or blossomed?
Well, like many people, your parents are your strong influences, and I had a strong mother and dad, and my dad was a pioneer in the car business, so I was around him all the time, and I've worked for him for about 20 years in my early days, and he actually worked for me the last 20 years of his life too. So that was a great resource. I worked for a long time for a legendary dealer in Memphis named Homer Skelton. Mr. Skelton passed away last Saturday or Sunday morning, 89 years old, and he was a legendary dealer who brought Toyota to this market, but he owned several other brands, both before he passed away and as he passed away too, and now he's passed most of that on to his family. So Homer was a guy that I watched closely. And then the last 10 years before I went out alone, I worked for Roger Penske. He is an inspirational leader of a worldwide success, and I was always able to follow his guidance and watch what he did, and took a lot of notes, and it's paid off well. So those three individuals more than anybody else.
What was the best advice they ever gave you?
Well, pay your bills, do what you tell people that you're going to do, and quit getting ready to get ready. I hire people all the time, and I'll go by a day or two later and check on them when they're still getting ready. The people who do something in entrepreneurials, they get out and they just get started, and they don't worry about getting ready and everything. Then they don't have to build a nest before they go and sell something or do something or build something. But our credit is impeccable. It helps us borrow money. Actually, people seek us out to do deals with them, and we tell people we're going to do something, we do it.
How do you find and develop and keep your people?
Well, just like everyone else, that's the $1 million question. Our credo is people, product, promotion, and profit. Well, it all starts with people, and I've been fortunate. I watched the Dobbs organization, which is another legendary automobile family from Memphis, build a huge, successful multi-dealership across many states, and they had equity partners. And I always said if I ever went into business for myself or went back into business for myself, I would do that. So I convinced a couple of guys when I first got started. I said, look, you get some equity in it, I'll get some equity in it, we'll grow together. And they're still with me. My original partners are still with me. And I would do more if I could find more partners. But building equity and letting everybody participate in the bottom line and in the growth that's been the biggest help to me.
Well, that is very good.
I love that.
Yeah, really. What is the biggest challenge that you've had since you've been growing your business?
Getting enough people to grow as fast as we've grown. Our business has grown double digit every year for the last 10 years. It'll probably be at best about flat this year, but we would actually own more dealerships if we had equity partners that we could put in them to run them. So it's just, you just got to be, we're very selective about who we go into business with and who we partnership with. We've got some people coming along in the stores that we think that can do that. But, you know, people they're the first and the last. And if you've got good people, you can do anything. And if you can attract talent and hold talent, you can conquer the world.
I like that. One of the things I just want to mention is that if anybody does have a question, they can write it in the bottom, and the question part of at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And we do have one question that I want to go ahead and ask, because it's kind of around what we're talking about right now. Is what's the one lesson in your life that you treasure the most, that pushed you to learn, grow, and become more successful?
Well, I was a dealer at a young age, and it wasn't the most successful thing I ever did, and it cost me a huge financial lesson, and I learned from that, and I realized that I'd probably gotten in over my head. So I literally worked on other people's money for a long, long time before I accumulated enough capital, you know, and the most important lesson was you can never have too much capital. And if you don't have enough, I mean, it will change your life and really make what you're trying to do difficult.
Yeah. Go ahead, Maureen.
Well, you know, I know that one thing that, you know, we've seen a lot of is your community involvement. And my question is, how did you decide what things you would get involved with and what that participation looked like?
Well, in the automobile business, our goal is not to sell you one car. It's to sell you your first car and to sell you 10 or 11 cars. And I've watched young people come along with little or no guidance, and they don't have the ability to buy a car because they either don't have the financial acumen to do it, or they don't have the credit to do it. And so early on, we took an interest in education, and we took an interest in trying to help people who couldn't help themselves. So we're deeply involved in the Collierville education system, the Germantown education system, the South Haven education system, and we throw a lot of resources into that. I've always felt like women and children and minorities were underserved in the philanthropic world. So St. Jude, you know, is a universal ideal that we could latch onto. We help raise millions of dollars every year for St. Jude through their marathon and through golf tournament. We think that the Susan Komen organization, although they're struggling right now, serves a big need. And we tried to find things that touched all members of the community in all of the demographic areas that we do business with, and the geographic areas that we do business with. So I would say education, women, and children has been our thrust.
That's great. One question that I want to ask is that one of the things about an entrepreneur is that you always have to keep learning. How do you keep learning about the industry and what you need to do to keep on top of the field?
Well, that's a great question. And entrepreneurs are always growing, and they never have all the answers. And I certainly, I'm a big copier. If I see somebody doing something I think is better, or if they're selling more cars than I am, I go visit them. I go look at them. Most people are willing to share that. Some of that's is involved travel and out of town. I read a lot about the industry and follow it closely, and I follow the trends. And I think to be a successful entrepreneur, you've got to be inquisitive. You got to ask a lot of questions, and you got to always think you don't have all the answers.
If you could go back and do something differently, you know, if you could tell your younger self, oh, I wish I had done that, what would that be? I do that a lot. Wish I had done that differently.
Well, I'm pretty happy with the last 10 years because it's been an amazing growth, you know, for us. We don't think we've done all that we can do or are going to do, but I made some mistakes on some people, and not the ones that I chose to do business with, but the ones that wanted to do more, and maybe I didn't give them the opportunity. And if I had nurtured them a little bit better, I might be further up the ladder, or we might have 20 stores, you know, instead of 10. You always think you can read people right, but I found out I haven't always read them right. And I'm not talking about the ones that have been good. I'm talking about the ones that have gone off and had success someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a great question. So where do you see yourself and the business in 5 years? 10 years?
I'm pretty bullish on the automobile industry. We're going through some rapid changes. Like I said, I've been doing it for 50 years. I have other people now that manage the day-to-day operations of the deal, and I've spent more time trying to keep us COVID-free than I have selling cars. I think that we'll have more dealerships, and not necessarily in Memphis. I think it's a great time to grow because money is inexpensive, and there's a lot of unused cash out in the marketplace. And I think real estate values have been good. We own all but one of our locations, so we like that. And you know, I think as other people start exiting the industry, it'll give us a chance to do it. And I have partners, I have equity partners who want to do more, and I'll try to help them do that. And I think we'll grow over the next 5 years.
Well, I know at the beginning, before everyone joined, we talked just for a minute about, you know, how good things have been in the auto industry for with COVID. And, you know, I know that you said it had been a great year, and we've got some friends that said that they have had record years. And what do you attribute that to? Or what do you think that will last? Or how do you think that it will be next year?
Well, this is just proof that you don't always know everything. The automobile business has been about 180 degrees from where I thought it would be back in March when, you know, when the world came apart. We immediately went into a cash saving mode. We immediately went into a cost saving mode. And I think that cost saving mode has been why we've had the success that we had. I ran some of our numbers in anticipation of some of these questions. So I was looking at our inventories since March 1st through October the 31st. We've reduced our inventories by 26%.
Wow.
Our revenue year over year is almost the same. So that means our margins have gone up, and that means that we've gotten out of some of the unprofitable end of the business. It also meant we were stocking way too many dollars worth of automobiles. This time last year, we had $80 million worth of cars sitting on the ground. Today we have $50 million worth of cars sitting on the ground, yet we're selling almost as many, And as I said, the margins are better too. I think that the stimulus package that the government passed back in April and May was a huge windfall for everyone. Those $1,200 checks didn't just necessarily go in the bank. A lot of people bought cars and houses and clothes and things like that. I think cheap money has fueled a lot of this. And I think the fact that the stock market has roared back from, 20 or 30% of deficit after the initial hit has improved people's confidence. And half the people are probably mad about the election and half the people are probably happy about the election. Well, that's a pretty good balance. And I think the fact that we're going to have looks like a divided government probably bodes well from a business standpoint. I think both parties are going to have to move to the middle. Because neither one of them, has a mandate. So I'm really impressed that a man that's older than I am has decided to run and been elected president, regardless of your party affiliation. I'm excited about the fact that the country has elected a female to the second highest office in the land, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. I think that bodes well for a lot of our population. A lot of my grandchildren are girls, so it gives them a role model to look after. So I'm pretty bullish on what's going to happen. I'm really worried about COVID, as everyone else is. I think we're going in for a rough ride these next few months. And I hope this vaccine does what people will think it'll do. Here's a little factoid. I watch my expenses pretty close. In fact, I sign all the checks. Every check comes to my desk, and I personally sign it along with an accountant or somebody else in the office. Our cleaning bills are more than our advertising bills. You would almost never hear an automobile dealership say that. And, we fight it every day, just like every business does. And we were fortunate to be designated as an essential business. Some of our customers weren't, and some of my friends weren't, and I've seen them suffer through some of this financially. So I'm thankful that we're having the year that we're had, and I'm thankful that we pulled most of our employees through. We started out with 450 employees back in March. We have 450 employees today. So that's been a good success for us.
I did just read a question, Pearson. I don't know if you saw it, but the question is, do you think, there's usually or a lot of times two ways people go about things: to be a jack of all trades, or to be, very focused and very mastering one thing. What would you say is your style? Or what would you say is? Well,
most people say I'm ADD, so it's hard for me to focus very long. But focused people who are persistent and insistent have a high success rate. And I think that you got to be very good at something, and you can have some other skills to go along with it. I like dealing with people, and I like selling. So I've focused on that. I've tried to round myself to do some of the other things, but I think you've got to have focus and you've got to have determination.
That's very true. One thing I want to kind of go back to before too, that was a great answer to that question. But when we were talking about kind of your future, what do you think about electric cars? Do you foresee y'all having a Landers electric car lot, or where do you think where you are with that?
I think that you and everybody else that's listening or might see this in the next few days doesn't even know yet that they want to have an electric car, but they're going to have one. I'll use the example. Until the iPhone was invented, no one ever thought they needed it, wanted it, or would have it. Now they can't live without it. Regardless of what you think about electric automobiles, we are already selling electric automobiles. A huge part of the market is going toward electric automobiles, and there's nothing There's nothing about an electric motor in a vehicle that it can't do that a combustion engine can't do. In fact, it can do it quieter, cleaner, and more efficiently. You're going to see electric F-150 Fords, the best-selling truck in the world. You're going to see electric Dodge Rams. You're going to see electric GMCs. In about 6 months, we will start selling electric GMC Hummers that develop 1,000 horsepower, and we will sell all that they can make. Our first electric Mustangs, an iconic sports car. Iconic, I mean, in history, it's one of the iconic brands. Within 30 days, we will have our first all-electric Mustang on the ground in Collierville and South Haven and Little Rock, and they're already sold. So yes, you're going to have an electric car. You're going to see a lot of them. What's coming after that is self-driving cars, and that
That's what I was going to ask.
You know, that autonomous vehicles may be a little further down the road, but you're passing them every day. You just don't know it. They're going to be in trucks and cars, and there's a lot of infrastructure that has to take place before that's done. But a large majority of the features on an autonomous vehicle are in the cars that we're selling now. If you have a car that's less than 5 years old, it already has features on it that are autonomous. They're just not being used that way. We're already selling automobiles that recognize the countdown clock in the stoplights.
Wow.
It just doesn't mean anything at this point. We've got to get to the point where the cars talk to each other. And again, it's like the iPhone. Until someone gave you one, you didn't know you couldn't live without it.
Do you think, I listened to you talking about these things, and it seems that you're excited about that. You're excited about the electric cars and the changes. And I think that from the people that I have met that are entrepreneurs, they are always thinking ahead and excited about the future, as opposed to thinking nothing will change. What do you think about that?
No, I agree. Automobile dealers, by their very nature, are risk takers, and they are all entrepreneurs because they're all independent business people. And we're used to risk. Like I said, I've been in the business for 50 years. The changes I'm seeing now are not any greater than the changes that I saw 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or 40. People said when the Asians came or when the Europeans came, it was going to change the world. It did. So I am excited about it because those of us who stay on top of it, will succeed, get better. And that's the way it is with all entrepreneurs in whatever business, they're in. Everybody said, well, everybody's going to go to indirect selling and everybody's going to go to the computer. No problem. We sell a huge amount of cars over the phone. I mean, through the internet and via email and text. And if they don't want to have a person-to-person transaction, we can do that. If they don't need a wet signature, we can do that. If they want the car dropped off at their house, we can do that. So life's about change, and entrepreneurs love change. In fact, change is what creates opportunity for entrepreneurs.
That brings me to a question that we always love to ask people whenever we're doing these interviews. Is it about an entrepreneur? Do you think that somebody can be taught to be an entrepreneur, or are you born that way?
Oh, I don't know. I think it just comes to people at different stages in their life. Some people have it early. I had heard it, lost it, and then got it back. And after you've had a little taste of it, you don't want to let it go. A lot of people are, if you're not comfortable with risk, you don't want to be around risk. If you're not worried about where your next paycheck's coming, that's a pretty good sign of an entrepreneur. And you're the last person that's going to get paid if you're a successful entrepreneur.
That's for sure. What about, do you think Memphis is known for being an entrepreneurial town? Why do you think that is?
Well, I thought a lot about that, and it came up in my induction, and it's come up in some of your questions. And I've read every one of those biographies of all the people who are in the Society of Entrepreneurs. It is fascinating. I think that entrepreneurs attract entrepreneurs. I think the fact that Memphis is a melting pot of all the deltas from Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. I've said this before. I think the fact that it's a river town, I don't know why, but it just seems to attract risk takers. And Memphis is even though there's 1 million people live here, it's still a small town, and you can still get things done. And quite frankly, apparently there are enough lenders in the marketplace to furnish money to people who want to take a risk, and without the capital, it's hard to be a successful entrepreneur.
Did being in Memphis it really didn't have any role, because of your being in Memphis, it didn't have any role in the success of your business, I would say, because.
Well, it was just where I was familiar with. And I can tell you this, it's a lot easier to do business around people and when you know the lay of the land and you know the policies and procedures. So I've never done it. We go as far as Little Rock and as far as Jackson, Mississippi, but I can tell you those are entirely different markets, and it takes a while to get your arms around it.
Yeah. What excites you about Memphis right now?
I am really amazed at the infrastructure that's going on, and I think that it's our time. I'm amazed at what the Carlisle group is doing downtown, and then the walk that's going in, and then the things that are going on in North Memphis too. So I think it bodes well for us. I'm happy that International Paper came here, but I'm more happy the fact that they end up moving all their corporate headquarters and stayed here. I'm excited about the growth with AutoZone, and I'm thrilled with what FedEx has done. Well, when you see those folks do that, well, it makes you think maybe you can do it too on a smaller scale. But I think the way the city is being rebuilt is absolutely amazing.
I agree.
Well, one of the questions we like to ask also is, what do you like to do for fun besides work? And I can tell that where you are might be a little bit of an indication of what you like to do for fun. But
well, as I told you, my internet and phone is down at my office in Germantown, so it gave me a good excuse to come out to my hunting club in Rossville, which is where I am now. When I'm not in the office or behind the phone or on a computer, I'm in the woods in a deer stand or a turkey stand. I love to do anything that's outdoors.
That's great. What are 3 things, and you can't say family is one of them, or 1, 2, or 3. What are 3 things that Kent Ritchey cannot live without?
Well, I can't live without competition. I cannot live without wine. And I cannot live without being outdoors. I drink wine every day. I read every day. I compete every day. The automobile industry is a heavily measured industry, as you well know. Everybody knows everybody's business, and it's in the paper all the time. So I like to keep score, and we keep score every day in the dealerships.
The competitive nature of you comes out, huh? So,
right.
All right, very good. And is there anything that anybody would be surprised to learn about you?
They'd be surprised at how much I read and how little I sleep and how much I think about the things that, that we're going to do. I read every day and I read every night, and I sleep 4 or 5 hours and think about business the rest of the time.
Wow, that's dedication. But Maureen, do you have any other questions, or do any of our other listeners have any other questions? Jay Myers did say that that might not be right, though. I don't think this. He says, great business insights from my friend Kent Ritchey. Can't believe he's as old as the president-elect. I don't believe that's right.
I am Mr. Biden and I are exactly the same age until I think he turned 78 the 20th, and I turned 77 on the 28th.
Wow.
You look a lot better than Joe Biden.
Because I probably drink more wine than he does.
Is that the key to
Or
success? We're good.
I drink better wine than he does.
That's great. All right. Well, I'm going to have Lisa help me out in drawing the door prize over here. Do you have any other questions while we do that, Maureen?
No, this has been great. Thank you. I really appreciate being able to be part of the panel today.
It's been a lot of fun. And next month we will have Lee Mansberg is going to be joining us on December the 10th. If you have not seen or heard about everything that Lee's doing at Junior Achievement, that meeting is one that you need to attend. And I'm really excited that our January roundtable will be, our guest is going to be Craig Brewer. We're just trying to confirm the exact date in January that he's going to be available. So I'm real excited about that. And Alton Cryer is the winner of the door prize.
Okay.
So, Alton, I'll be in touch with you about how we can get you and Maureen together so that you can get that door prize. And also we'll talk about how we, I'll let y'all know who will be our Maureen for next month with Lee Mansberg, who will be able to tell about their business a little bit also. So, Kent, thank you so much. This has been great. I really, really appreciate it. I'm very glad that you have a sunny fall day to go outside so that out there in Rossville, you can go outside now and enjoy some of the outdoors like you like to do. But I really appreciate it. And it was great seeing everybody. And I'll look forward to next month.
Thank you. Happy
Thank you.
holidays, everyone.
Yeah, happy
Thank you very
Thanksgiving.
much.
Thanks so much. Bye, Kent.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Maureen.
Bye.
Maureen.
Bye, Pearson. Bye, Kent.